Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast and our series on the crypto investment journey. If you've already watched the past couple, you probably already got a nice overview of what's going on in the general world and why crypto matters and what all the hubbub is about. And then in the last one, we kind of discussed all the different cryptos and just to be able to understand what they do and really be able to go into it. As always, my name is Sim, like a SIM card. Little old SIM card, just here to tell you about all this information. As always, here's that little piece that I always got to say at the beginning. This content is for information purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't misconstrue any of this as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. I'm just here to make sure I give you some information to think about. It's mostly opinion. Don't just make decisions according to what I say. Definitely go out and do your research, and if it aligns with what I say, then feel free to do with it as you wish. Thank you. I appreciate you being independent. So the next piece that we wanted to kind of discuss about the crypto investment journey is, so if you've understood the macro scale of things and where crypto fits into the bigger picture, and then you've understood what each one of the cryptos does. Now there's 9,000 cryptos, so I'm not saying you go and understand each one of them, but just have a general idea of what is blockchain, what is Bitcoin, what are the few that you've actually looked at or maybe are looking towards investing. Just having that understanding. The next step in that journey is that big step. It's actually getting into the crypto. That tends to be a big block for a lot of people because it feels like this thing that's so difficult and so complicated and techie. So there's a lot of people that get put off of it. Now, it is techie in some parts. It is a little complicated, almost made to be a little complicated on purpose because it's developed by techs basically. But once you understand kind of the pieces involved, it's really easy. But now let's step back a little bit. What most people do is they actually they're like, let me just put some money on there and learn it that way. How I'm going to learn to get into the market is by just getting into the market. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people lose money in this market because, learning by making mistakes is not exactly the most efficient way of learning. It's actually much better to do the harder work up front, learn from maybe somebody who knows how to do it, develop a bit of a strategy so you have an idea of what you're going to do to get in, what pieces are required for you to be able to make sure you don't make the mistakes everyone else does, and be able to understand what issues come up that other people have that makes them lose money so you don't lose your money. Because again, as our motto is always, don't lose money. It's not about just making money. It's more about not losing money. If you learn how to do that properly, you can have a lot of success in this sphere. So, if I was to tell you, close your eyes and imagine you going through that journey of actually entering the crypto markets, what does that look like for you? Try that now. So close your eyes, meditate, and try to think. You have your money sitting in your account and you want to enter the crypto market. How do you see it playing out? Do you just see yourself signing up for an exchange the same way you've seen other people sign up, and you go in there and you're actually just investing in an exchange, and you just put your money on and you just buy some random cryptos with it, and you hope to God or the universe that everything goes fine? Funny enough, that is the route that most people take when they don't know how to do it. So they just put it into something that somebody told them, a friend told them, or they just put it into Bitcoin because they've heard a lot about Bitcoin. That's not the best way of doing it. That's how most of the mistakes happen. That's when you'll be in a market which you don't understand, and then market dynamics, which are really tied to human psychology, will do what they do, and your psychology will react the way psychology always reacts, which is very predictably, and you will end up making the mistakes that everyone does, and which generally leads to you losing money. So now, hopefully, I can give you some pieces that will really help you be able to visualize and understand what's required for you to not make those mistakes. And, you're probably wondering, who's this guy? Why does he get to tell me what I should be doing? It's because, number one, I've done it myself. I also help beginners and corporations go through this journey and really develop strategies that are effective and have all the pieces necessary to make sure they're not going to make those mistakes that will cause them to actually lose money or make some of the wrong moves in this market. So I literally I'm a consultant that helps people build their strategies. So here's my piece to you. Here's all the things that I can tell you. Now, these strategies do tend to be really individualized because a lot of these pieces will depend on your current situation, your citizenship, how you're investing, how long you're investing for, what kind of a psychology you have, what kind of a lifestyle you want to create, how much time you can dedicate. So all those things and many more play into developing a custom strategy. So don't just take what I'm saying here and run with it. In the spirit of always making sure you do your own research and actually personalize it to you. Don't just take everything I say here today and just say that's exactly what you need to do. There's a lot of pieces that need to be modified to perfectly fit your needs. Otherwise, again, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But, the first step in you getting into a market the right way is learning. You never want to invest in anything that you don't understand. You at least want to have a basic understanding of the fundamentals of what you're investing in. And what does that mean? In the crypto sphere, it means understanding what this crypto thing is in general. If you watch the previous podcasts, which I really recommend, you've probably got a basic understanding of how to look at blockchain and how to look at Bitcoin and how to look at Ethereum and how to look at a few other ones. So you start to at least have some kind of a mental model that helps you understand what they do. Without that, you just putting your money into some magical coins that other people are making money from. That's just fundamentally not how a sound investor would invest. So step one, learn. Now, what does that look like? Literally just go into YouTube and type in what is blockchain and spend a few hours in a day. For one day, just spend a few hours learning about that, reading about it. There's a great app called Blinkist. You can go on there and read books in 15 minutes. Go on there and actually, type in blockchain and read every single book that's there. It's 15 minutes. It's quick. And within a day, you will have some basal understanding of what blockchain is. Go back and watch the previous podcast. Those will give you a basic understanding. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so done. I know what blockchain is. Okay, now I want to know what Bitcoin is. Same thing. Just spend a day, a few hours at least, of researching what is Bitcoin. Watch some videos about it. Great thing about today is we have great resources, YouTube being one of my favorites, where there's actually high quality descriptions from many different kind of angles. You'll notice I gave my own kind of simple analogy definition of it, which a lot of people resonate with, but everybody's giving their own angle on what is Bitcoin so you can really understand it. And you do that for at least all of the cryptos that you're planning on putting into your portfolio. But that's how you learn, okay? So you learning of what the thing does will really go a long way in you understanding all the rest of the pieces that are involved in you investing, all right? So you've learned about what the crypto market is, where it fits into the overview. You've learned about what blockchain is. You've learned about what each crypto does, or at least a few of the cryptos do, so you can start to have a mental model of it. Now, here's one of the most important pieces that will make sure that you don't lose money in this game. Markets are a game of psychology. Human psychology is manipulated in certain ways to cause humans to actually give up their money by people who actually understand the psychology and know how to control it, and they're the ones who make the money. That's why the hedge funds make the money. The average person loses the money. That's just how the game goes. It's a psychology game. So then one of the most important things to have is rules that help you control your psychology. If your psychology is going to be manipulated, and that's the biggest piece that actually will cause you to act in a way that's against your own interest, then okay, then you should have rules to control your psychology. And this is, again, one of the most important pieces of the strategies that I develop for my clients. So there's a few different ones, but let me give you the biggest one. The biggest rule to make sure that you don't lose money in any market, but also in crypto, is don't act from a place of emotion. That's a great rule for life. Okay? Just don't act from a place of emotion. When you feel fear, when you feel euphoria, when you feel kind of anxiety. Don't act from those places, because those are feelings which are very well known to people who play the markets well, and they understand that they're going to use the fear against you. So like the fear of missing out, FOMO, you've probably heard of that one. Right around now, I mean, when we're recording this, you're seeing Bitcoin at that like $60,000 mark, and you're starting to get FOMO, like, I should buy that now. Everybody's buying it, and I don't want to have the fear of missing out. That fear is one of the biggest driving factors in using your psychology against you. Same thing with greed. Same thing with joy. When you make some money, you're going to get really joyous, and you're going to maybe get greedy and say, I want more money. And all of those things are patterns that are very well known to somebody sitting on the other side who's played this game a lot, that they will use against you. So just don't have a place of emotion. And there's other rules that you need to have, but just, you need to have rules which you can follow, which will allow you to be part of that small sect of people who come from a place of rules and come from a place of strategy, who are the ones who actually are likely to make money. Okay, cool. So you've learned. Now you have some rules. Now, time to select a strategy. What does that mean? A strategy. A way for you to invest. Strategically plan out what it is you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Because that hedge fund doesn't just make money because they just manipulate psychology. That's one way of doing it. But they also have strategies. They have 1 month, 6 month, 1 year, 10 year, 20, 50, 100 year strategies. So they know what they're doing, and they know what game they're playing, and they know how they're playing it because they planned it out. And most people go into it first of all, from a place of emotion, but also from a place of just not having any plan. Nothing written down, nothing even thought about. And now if a player enters a game and his strategy is, when I ask most people, and I'm like, what's your strategy? They're like, my strategy is to make money. I'm like, anything else? Like, my strategy is to get rich. It's like, do you think the billionaires that's how they put their millions of dollars and billions of dollars into a place? No, they actually have complete plans that they've developed, and they understand what they're doing, how long they're doing it for, how they're going to execute it, all of that. So have a strategy. So let me give you a real world example. Like, what is a strategy? What does a strategy in crypto look like? So a very common strategy, because the crypto markets are very cyclical. They are based around the Bitcoin halving event. If you don't know what that means, please go back and watch the previous ones. Google it, research it, YouTube it. You'll find it out quickly. But the Bitcoin markets the crypto markets in general they have market cycles which are based around the Bitcoin halving. And a lot of people understand that as soon as the Bitcoin halving happens, the price of Bitcoin is going to start to go up because half the Bitcoin are produced, so then the price has to go up. Okay, so most of those people will actually buy either before the Bitcoin halving or somewhere around it, and the most recent one happened in 2020, May 2020. So they'll buy around that time while the prices are low, and they know they're going to go up. They will wait until the prices go up and spike, and then they will sell at the top. So, classic buy at the bottom, sell at the top. That's one strategy. Great. It's a simple strategy, but it works. You buy when the prices are low because you predictably know there's an event that's going to cause the price to go up. Then once the prices go up and everybody else gets euphoric and FOMO and all that stuff, and they start buying, that's when you sell. Perfect. If you have that strategy, you're very likely to make money. Now, that's just one of many, many different strategies. That's why they're customized to your specific needs, situation, all that, but that's just one strategy. Like, are you a trader? Are you an investor? Investors invest long-term and tend to invest without using leverage. Leverage is a way for you to be able to actually multiply the amount of capital that you're playing with, multiply the amount of money that you're playing with. So, but it's higher. So if you're a trader, you can use leverage, so you can multiply the amount of money that you're playing with, but it's higher risk. If you're an investor, it's lower risk, but it's lower rewards. So which one are you? How are you doing it? You probably heard about something like yield farming or staking, and all these things then get complicated. But are you doing those things, or are you just going to simply put your money in and wait and pull it out at some time? have a strategy. Great. So now you've learned, you have some rules, your psychology is controlled, you have a strategy. You then got to select where to put your money, right? Which cryptos? How should I do it? So that requires you to actually, again, have an understanding of which cryptos you know about, because you're not going to invest in anything you don't know about. That's always a good one. But secondly, then you have your risk tolerance. Like, how risky are you willing to go with this money? I mean, if this is your life savings, number one, I never recommend anybody put all their life savings into one basket, ever. But this is not financial advice, so you can do whatever you want. But, you know, if this is money that's really important and you don't want to risk it a lot, then you would put it into safer cryptos. You know, you would put it into your average Bitcoin or Ethereum or somewhere where you know it's not just going to, you're not going to lose that money tomorrow. Even if you make less money, you're not going to lose that money. If this is money that's just extra and you're like, I'm willing to risk it more to actually make more rewards, then you would put it into some of the lower coins. So, you know, the top 100 are really usually pretty safe bets. The top 50 are going to be your high quality, almost guaranteed surefire bets, but obviously it really depends on each crypto, so you make sure you've done the research. Just because I'm saying this, don't just go put all your money into the top 50. So, perfect. You've figured out how much risk you're willing to tolerate, and you've put your money in a way that you spread it out into different cryptos, where some of them are lower risk, lower reward. Some of them are medium risk, medium reward. Some of them are higher risk, higher reward. Some people I know go right into those unknown little, they're called low cap coins, where they're new. They maybe don't have a lot of money behind them, and they have the potential to go 100x, some of them 1,000x, some of them more than that. But there's an insane amount of risk you're taking in that, because you could potentially just lose all of your money. So now, just a little point in that a side point is a lot of cryptos are scams. It's the honest truth, because there's $2 trillion of value today, and there's probably going to be more by the time you're listening to this, but there's $2 trillion of value, $2,000 billion of value that's sitting in this. So scammers of all shapes and sizes are figuring out new ways to scam you out of your money. And this is why that research piece is so important, because where you put your money needs to be vetted, and you need to know what it is. And ideally, if you don't know this, if you're new to this market, I don't recommend you going down to those low cap coins in the hopes that you'll make, life-changing 100x, 1000x money, because that is one of the ways that the emotion of greed will control you and will lead you to lose money. So, when you've done that, you've figured out which cryptos you're going into, you've learned about them, you've kind of spread out your risk in a balanced way, so you have it spread out in a way that you feel comfortable with. Have you thought about tax? Almost every person that I talk to, as soon as I mention that, they go, tax? And I'm like, yeah, tax. That thing where the government wants your hard-earned money. You're thinking of making a lot of money, but are you thinking about what it's going to happen as soon as you try to take it out? What's even going to happen when you try to put it into your bank account, let alone what's going to happen as soon as the tax season comes around? So most people haven't. Somebody with a strategy has. We sit down, we figure out where they are in their life situation. Do they have corporations? What kind of investments are they making? What kind of tax liability are they going to have? Which country it's going to be in? And how to deal with that, and how to make sure that you're prepped and ready for that eventuality, and you've thought about it ahead of time, or at least have kept it in mind so you're able to execute in the right way and not fall into the wrong side of the government. So now you're starting to see why having a strategy from the beginning, even though it seems like a decent bit of hard work at the beginning, is the thing that on the long term will save you. It will save you money, it'll save you time, it'll save you legal troubles, it'll save you a lot of different things. And most people aren't thinking about these things. Now, it's all good and well putting my money into the right cryptos, thinking about tax, all that stuff. But when do I take my money out? what does it mean for me to take my money out? How does that process look? But literally, when do I pull it out? And the one very common mistake that, again, causes people to lose money is I ask them, when do you want to take the money out? They're like, at the top. I'm going to take it out at the top. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, once the market's at its top, once I made the most amount of money, then I'll take out my money. And it's like, okay, you think it's that simple, really? That everybody just knows that it's the top of the market, so everybody just pulls out their money? That's literally not how it works. And that kind of psychology is literally one of the pieces that's part of somebody's strategy, to know that you're going to be thinking about taking it out at the top, and they're going to manipulate you in a way that you never even realize that you've missed the top or whatever, right? So a sound profit-taking strategy includes points that you've set up ahead of time to make sure, number one, you never lose your initial investment. The most important thing, remember, we said number one rule, don't lose your money. But number two, you've controlled your greed and controlled your emotions and taken profits at set intervals to make sure that you've locked in your profits well ahead of the so-called top, because nobody can know the top, nobody can call the top. Even the best investors in the world don't know where the top is. So don't just wait for that top. That can't be a profit-taking strategy. Now, you can do a lot of psychoanalysis. You could do pattern analysis. You could look at previous market cycles. You could look at a lot of different things to kind of gauge where it's going to be. But you don't wait for that point to take all of your money out. That's potentially how you lose a lot of money. Because let's just imagine you do call the top. You are this Nostradamus and you're able to see where the top is. When there's billions of dollars being pulled out of exchanges have outages. Exchanges sometimes block accounts. Exchanges could have other issues. They could get hacked. There's a lot of different things that could happen that are not even part of your kind of mindset, and that could stop you from pulling out money. So if you're waiting for that end point, you are falling into the trap that many people fall into. Another thing is, a lot of people think that it's just going to go on forever. That, this thing, I turned my 10,000 into 50,000. Now it's going to turn to 100. Then it's going to turn to 1 million. Like, I've heard all these stories. So it's just going to go on forever. So why would I take out my money? If you have a strategy, you've thought about this, these markets are cyclical. They go up like the moon, and then they drop like somebody falling from the moon. So don't just assume that it's going to go on forever. The number of painful stories I've heard of people where they have PTSD and trauma about riding that wave thinking this is just going to be going on forever, and then they felt the pain of that crash and saw that they had actually made some life-changing money, and then watching it wither away. That is one of the most painful things to hear. Because, again, they didn't come from a place of knowledge, didn't come from a place of research, didn't come from a place of planning and strategy. It came from a place of emotion. And that as soon as you start to get into those crazy numbers and you're seeing your wealth multiply, even if you're not a greedy person, greed will take over and make you want more. And you, in the state of wanting more, you'll completely miss the point that, like, you've already made a lot. And you'll completely miss that so-called top that you're waiting for. And even when it drops, you won't know that it's the top, because these markets drop 30% on a Tuesday. So if it drops 30%, you'll be like, oh, it's just another drop. But the next time it drops another 30% or 60%, and now you've lost most of your gains in almost no time. So plan ahead of time exactly how risky you want to play it, when you want to pull your initial investment, when you want to take extra profits, what you're going to do. First of all, when is your projected top of this market? How are you researching those things? When are you planning on taking out all of your investment? All of these things should be thought about ahead of time to make sure you don't fall into that trap of buy it at the bottom, sell it at the top, and I'm going to go and buy a Lambo with it. All right. So now you've done all that. You've figured out your tax implications. You figured out the cryptos. You've learned about them. You figured out how to put your money, like where you're going to put your money. You figured out all the pieces we just talked about. Now, what a lot of people also do is they'll figure out one way to put their money on and one way to get their money off. Not very smart. And here's why. If you have one way to get your money on, something could go wrong with that. Bank accounts getting blocked is so common in this sphere because banks are very finicky when it comes to actually transferring to exchanges, and they could see the transactions as fraudulent. And I've seen people's accounts get blocked, and they're asked to fly back to their country to prove that it's their own identity, but now they don't have access to their own money because their account's blocked, and now they're stuck in another country, and now they don't have any crypto. So like, this is not out of the ordinary. This is very common for this to happen. So you should have multiple different, we call them on-ramps, multiple different ways to get your money on, right? And this is, again, part of your strategy, where you figured out multiple channels that you can take your money from your bank account and put it into an exchange to be able to convert it into crypto. Having at least 3 is recommended. The more the merrier. You can never have too many places to put your money on. Now, even more important than just multiple channels to get your money off is multiple channels to get your money off. Okay? Like, you need at least 3, probably more. Like, it's good to have more backup options, ways for you to actually take your money out of crypto and then put it back into your bank account and be able to use that money, right? So what that process looks like is, the money goes from your bank account to an exchange. The exchange exchanges the money for cryptocurrency coins. You keep those cryptocurrency coins in some kind of wallet. You're either keeping it on the exchange or keeping it in a personal wallet. That's for the next. We'll talk about that more in the next podcast. But you've exchanged your money at the exchange and kept it. And then when at some point when you decide that it's your profit-taking time, or you've hit some kind of profit-taking point, that's part of your strategy, then you exchange that cryptocurrency back for either money on the exchange, or you can exchange it back for something called a stable coin. And a stable coin is a cryptocurrency that's tied to the value usually of the US dollar. So it's kind of like selling it, but not leaving the crypto market completely. So if Bitcoin has gone up to 100,000 US dollars and you're like, this is the moment I want to sell, you could sell it for 100,000 US dollars and then put those into your bank account. Or you could sell it for 100,000 USD stable coins, USDC, BUSD, USDT. There's a bunch of different ones, but you could sell it for that coin. Now you're probably wondering, why would I sell it for the coin? Why don't I just get the dollars? So think about this. Have you ever tried putting $100,000 into your bank account? Try it and let me know how quickly they block your account. Because as soon as $100,000 shows up in your account, which has had a few $1,000s all the time, or $10,000, anything above $10,000 gets flagged, and you have to really give an explanation to your bank where this money is coming from, because it looks like money laundering, to be honest. And there's massive anti-money laundering laws, which you probably didn't know about because you didn't do any strategy, but these things have to be thought about. Because you know what's worse than making $100,000? It being stuck and them trying to get you to explain to them why they should release it back to you, why they should give you your own money back. Okay, so that's why a lot of people, they'll sell it for that stable coin and then maybe reinvest it into crypto or whatever else is part of your strategy. You'll do that. Another way of getting your money off is to sign up for Visa debit cards. So you can actually get cards, which are Visa cards, and you can put your crypto onto these cards and spend the crypto directly. You're avoiding the whole bank situation. You can kind of use it wherever you use Visa cards, and you can spend it directly. And for some of those cards, you actually need that stable coin that we talked about, which is, it's not really dollars, it's the coin that's equivalent to dollars. Make sure you research that if you don't know what that is. Another way to get your money off would be, there's P2P sellers, where there's somebody who you find who says, hey, send me that crypto, I'll buy it from you and I'll send you the cash. So there's many different ways of getting it off, but you should have more than 3 set up, because if you have one place set up, let's say you have Coinbase, as soon as this thing gets crazy and there's lots of people doing transactions, Coinbase has outages regularly. And if you need to sell today and Coinbase has an outage, good luck. You're out of luck. Bad luck, I guess. So that's why you need to have 3 ways for you to get off. But I would recommend the more the merrier. See? you're already understanding this whole strategy thing. Like, you could just write all this stuff down and research it yourself and learn all the pieces. That would be enough for you to at least understand. That's what I'm trying to do here. I want to give you as much value as possible, so you know, like, there's a lot of pieces that if I think about them ahead of time, I can save a lot of trouble later on. Obviously, if you want to sit down with me, I'd be happy to do that. That's literally what I do. But I want to make sure that even if you don't have that opportunity, just please follow all these steps, at least in some semblance, and you'll have a better way of being able to play this game and the least likely to lose your money. Now, a few more pieces. You need to have analytics. What are analytics? Analytics are you being able to have visibility of your portfolio. Because think about it. If you have your money in, so now some exchanges will have some coins. Some exchanges will have other coins. Maybe you have to get 2 or 3 exchanges to actually get all of the coins that you want to get. Now you have 3 different banks basically that are holding all of your investments. You are now the bank. You are now the investment manager. You are the hedge fund. You are everything now. So it's up to you to make sure you secure it and you keep track of it, and then you execute the strategy that you built properly on it. And that gets complicated. So one of the great ways of making sure you secure it and you're able to keep track of it is analytics. Because, if you're your own bank and you have 3 online logins for these banks, you don't want to just keep logging into your bank to check how much money you have or keep track of what's going on. That's a great way of creating a security hole where somebody could potentially compromise you, or you could leave it open on a computer somewhere or something, and then somebody would have access to your account. So ideally, you don't want to be opening all 3 of those exchanges to actually look at the amount of money you just made. It's better to actually run your analytics on an analytics platform like CoinStats or even CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko or whichever one you like. Sometimes people even just do it with a spreadsheet, but you're able to keep track of how much of each investment you have and how much it's worth today, how much your total portfolio is worth, which really then ties back into, once you know how much your portfolio is worth today, then it's much easier for you to hit your profit taking points and make sure that, at this point, once my portfolio gets to this point, I'm going to take out this much, so on and so forth. And the other thing is, when you're able to have analytics, you don't have to keep opening your bank vaults basically to look inside to see how much money you have. You actually just open your analytics app to see how much money you have, and you only open your exchanges when you need to act. Great way of ensuring security. So now that goes forward into, if you're your own bank, you need to have some security protocols, because people don't just lose money by investing. People lose money by getting hacked. People lose money by making mistakes in the way that they actually transact things, because most of the time, hackers won't hack the system. They've been trying to hack Bitcoin for 10 years. They still haven't been able to do it, but they'll hack you, the user. They'll get you to give up your password. They'll maybe hack you through some kind of, there's a million hacks. I'm not even going to go down in them. We'll actually have a whole podcast of scams and hacks, but there's many ways to hack you. So you have to then figure out ways to make sure that you have these security protocols, so you're not opening your exchanges, you're not sitting there on a public Wi-Fi looking at how much crypto you have. There's a bunch of different things that you can do to make sure that you're not making yourself vulnerable, because you're the bank. It's your fault if you lose anything. Now, that seems like a lot, but obviously, once you've done this exercise, or at least looked at all these pieces, it doesn't take that long. I get my clients through it within a few hours, or at least get them thinking about it within a few hours, and then some of the pieces take longer to execute. But if you've done that, then you are part of that very small percentage of investors who are actually coming from a place of strategy. And then the final couple pieces that I always like to make sure that you're cognizant and aware of is confirming with your bank what kind of banking limits you have, what kind of transaction limits you have, confirming what limits you have in your country before your account gets blocked or your transaction gets flagged. Because, for example, the US has a $10,000 transaction limit before you have to explain what that transaction is. So in that case, it's a really good idea to not send $10,000 unless you have a bank which is able to do that and they're used to sending that. Or you've figured out with your bank and called them and said, hey, I'm going to be doing bigger transactions, and it's being done through say, an OTC desk. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but it's a desk where they allow you to actually exchange larger amounts, and they're very used to doing that. So the banking system is used to seeing them get $100,000, and you're able to then transact that much money without having too many issues. But again, make sure you've thought about that. Make sure you've talked to your bank. Make sure you found your limits. Make sure you've figured out the legal kind of framework around getting your money on, because that includes getting your money on and getting your money off. Very important pieces. Now, having all of that, you've learned, you've set rules for your psychology, you've selected a strategy, you know exactly how risk tolerant you are, you've selected a portfolio of coins, you've selected how to take your profits, you've figured out your tax implications, you've built multiple ways to get your money on, multiple ways to get your money off, you've set up some analytics, you know your security, you've confirmed it with your bank. All these things done ahead of time will make sure that you have the highest likelihood of success. And after that, you just get to executing that strategy. And another beautiful thing about a strategy is it takes away the emotion. Because when you write it, you're coming from a place of logic and understanding. And it's very tuned into exactly where you are and what you feel comfortable with and what you determine. So when that time comes and you get that fear, because like I said, this market will drop 30%. Just like that. And it's very regular for it to drop about 30 to 40%. That's actually a healthy part of these markets going up in the crazy way that they do. When that happens and you feel that fear of like, I want to take my money out, when you actually read your strategy, you'll say, oh no, that's not on my strategy. My strategy is to actually hold, stay in this until that profit taking point or until that time that I've selected, you know. And executing the strategy like a robot really takes away the emotion that will be used against you. And it gives you, if this is all the game of probabilities, that increases your probability towards making money compared to losing money. So I hope this all made some sense. If it's complicated, please go back and watch it again. This is my understanding or my kind of explanation of a good way for you to enter the markets in a way that's the best for you. And I really hope you gain some value from that. Next time, we're going to be talking about how to stay in the markets and how to not make mistakes in the markets and what it even looks like to stay in the markets. There's many different ways to stay, how long you stay, all that stuff. And I hope to see you then. Thanks so much for your time. Much love. Bye for now.